Hey, here's your heads up to this podcast. It was supposed to be just a 20-minute podcast, but it's gone on and on and on. But on and on in a wonderful way, I think, because it's all about parking your goals. Putting them aside, not looking at them. BS or what? Have a listen.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hi guys, and before I start today, I wanted to say something very personally to you. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for listening, and thank you for continue to listening. And I hope by your continued listening, we can share some things together. Now, what I wanted to share today, though, was about goals and goal setting. Because again, I was listening to some people talking about how, goals didn't matter anymore. Goals were completely the wrong thing to do. Now, I know I have my thoughts and my comments of what people say. And I know I was thinking about it the other day. Are you coming off, Paul, as a bit of a dick in the way that, you know better and you're trying to tell people you know better? And that's not what I'm trying to do, honestly. What I'm trying to do is give the other view, maybe a more balanced view, maybe a more harmonious view, because these people take and make these statements, I think, for effect, and they do it to prove what they're saying is true. Now, this is when I took exception to these statements saying goals were completely wrong, because a goal, they said, here's an example, here's a brilliant example, the Olympic Games. Every person entering into that Olympic Games has the goal of winning a gold medal. And there's only one winner of each different event, therefore goals are completely wrong because you can't get them, and therefore they're the wrong thing to aim for. What they said, you have to concentrate on systems. And I thought to myself, there's something wrong with that analogy. And I sat down for a little while and I thought, hang on a minute, whoa. There are so many different things, first of all, that can go wrong with that goal of winning a gold medal. There is only one winner for a start. So there is going to be a second place, a third place. That's why they give those type of medals out. There's also going to be fourth, fifth, sixth, and everyone else. But in that goal, there's also the dangers of injury, how the preparation went, diet, being looked after, stress, other people in your life. There are so many different variable factors that affect a goal. It's not the goal itself that is wrong, and the goal isn't wrong, and nor are all those factors. It's just that that's life. It happens. Things happen. But I thought, hey, what is the real goal? And isn't it to perform at my best? That's the real goal, isn't it? The goal below the surface. What's important to somebody? To perform at my best. Now, you see, what I thought was, everything we do has a goal. I want a cup of coffee. It's a goal. I want to sit down and go to my journal and write. That's a goal. I don't know what the goal result will be, but the goal is a mini goal. I don't think of it as a goal, but everything we do has a strategy and a goal. And that's where these people were coming from. They were calling them systems. And systems, strategies, tomatoes and all that stuff. Everyone has a different strategy, but we all have strategies towards goals. Everything we do, even if it's just having a conversation with somebody, there's a goal there somewhere. Whether it's to, just to get a deeper connection, whether it's just to have the crack, whether it's just to have fun, just to be with somebody, who knows? They're goals, but not necessarily the ones that we sit down and write down in our goal journal or whatever. But for the sake of harmony, I wanted to discuss a little bit more about goals and dreams. But before I do that, an unashamedly 90-second break. We all need time to de-stress, don't we? We all need that space. Everyone needs space. Our own place of personal retreat. And going to retreats are great. But if you can't, why not have one in your mind? You know, if you don't go to that special place, that stress just builds and builds and builds. But if you have a place in your mind where you can go and de-stress, work out problems, think of all the wonderful things that you'll be able to do. The wonderful feelings. So that's why I've created this program of 4 hypnosis tracks to build and be and have your own inner retreat. You can have whatever you like in that inner retreat. There could be rooms, there could be libraries, healing rooms, different lighting, maybe a fire in the corner, a special chair, maybe incense, anything that you choose. Some people have a computer that stores all the memories you've ever had, that library of everything you've ever read or everything you ever need to know. Maybe a healing room, a room where you can just go to and have your own inner healing or own inner relaxation. So what have I done? I've created these 4 tracks. 1 to build, 1 to extend it whenever you need to extend it, and then to be able to go there for a particular period of time or even a longer period of time. So you've got 2 tracks of just going and being in that special place where you can, take a problem with you, maybe muse it over in that special place, or you can leave it there, leave it to incubate in your unconscious mind. So when you come back, well, you can just have the answers come, or they might just come consciously. It's all there for you. All you have to do is go to paulcloughonline.com/retreat, have a look, give you a nice little video there, just see if it's for you. I think it's a lovely little program. There's nothing to lose because there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's a lovely program, and I think it was one I wanted to do for myself because I just thought it's such a wonderful thing to do. I love retreats, but hey, this is your own personal one. Have a look. Enjoy. Oh, we're back 90 seconds. Maybe interesting. Have a look at that. See, I can't agree goals should be separated from the strategy or the system. But I also don't agree, because these people were actually saying, park your goal. Look at it once, park it, forget about it, just do a system. And I can't agree with that. But goals should not be parked, because in some ways they're the label of your motivation, I guess. It's something that you strive to do. It's a thing that you get that picture in your mind of what it will be like. We talk about the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Well, to get the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you have to imagine with your wonderful imagination what it would be like to have that wish fulfilled, and then you get the feeling. But on the other hand, I don't agree that goals are paramount. They're not the only thing. You see, because I talk about harmony, because you can't have one without the other, I don't think. There are other ingredients to achieving your goal. Yes, you have to have the goal, the aim in mind. Yes, you have to have a system to achieve that goal. But there's another important bit, and I'm sure there's more, but there is another very important element, and that's values. And we've talked about values for lots of times. Lots of times? Yes, Paul, lots of times. In lots of podcasts, values come up. Because why do they come up? Because they're important. Because values are your motivation. The reasons why you want something, why something is important to you, or why it's not. We talk about away froms and go towards. Toward values, away from values. And that's why sometimes if they're away from, we only go so far away from something that we don't want until we stop, and then we lose our motivation. So we change them. But just having the value, this is really important to me, and I know exactly why it's so important to me, and it's all towards things which are wonderful. So everything is important about this. And yes, I can now formulate a bit of a goal, but that goal can be so generalized that it doesn't focus my attention. And then if I haven't got a system, if I haven't got a strategy to achieve that goal, if I don't know what steps to take, if I don't know what the steps are and which is the first and which is the last, we go all over the place. And you see people do this. They have a goal in mind. It suddenly pops into their head and they get so motivated that they just go woof and they're completely in the wrong direction. And they wonder in a week's time, what happened? Why isn't it happening to me? Because I've got all this motivation. I've got the goal in mind and it's not happening for me. Oh, law of attraction doesn't work. Oh, systems don't work. Oh, everything doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work because you didn't have the system. You didn't have the strategy. So there's this recipe, this harmonious recipe of achieving things in life. I mean, you do it, as we said, we do it every day. You do it every day, don't you? You have a cup of coffee, cup of tea. You make your breakfast. If you have breakfast, I don't. You make your dinner. You romance somebody. You romance yourself. You go to the gym. Everyone has a goal. Even if you don't know why you're going to the gym, the goal is, initially, one step, to go to the gym. And you see, every goal that works, even the ones that don't work, have a strategy. One, it just doesn't work, and one does work. One's more successful than the other. But each step of that strategy, each step of that system is like a mini goal. And without that, everything tends to fall down. And sometimes because they're so unconscious, we don't understand it and we just get deflated, and then we get these limiting beliefs of, well, I'm not a good person, or I can never do that. It always fails. I'm a failure. And we're not. We just didn't think. We didn't think things through to start off with. Maybe we didn't know how. So that's where I thought we could talk about. That's where we could talk about. That's what I thought we could talk about today. Let's think about our goals. Let's think about our systems and strategies for getting those goals. Let's think about the motivation that's going to get us those goals, to get us to go through those steps to achieve the goal that we want, and to also to know that we really want it. All that stuff. You see, my meta little label of this was, and yes, I do have little notes, was flexibility, focus and awareness. Because if you don't have those in this harmony, well, we're just not going to get the things that we deserve, because you do deserve them. And the thing is, when you get those goals, then what happens? Yes, you have that wonderful satisfaction, sense of achievement, maybe a little ego stuff in there, but we'll allow that to happen just for a moment. But we also now have an experience of, as we move on, it becomes an experience of the past of being successful. So we can call upon that experience to do that type of thing again successfully. But we'll also have the belief, the positive belief that we are capable, that we are good enough, that we do achieve. And you also have the learnings around that, because every goal is going to be slightly different, because the environment will be slightly different than it was on that previous goal. You'll be slightly different, but you'll have the learnings from the previous goal to be able to adapt, which is that flexibility, the awareness and the focus. Oh, that's pretty clever, Paul. That's just me saying it to myself, by the way, not to you. Because you're pretty clever. Because I know that you've got all this stuff inside you. I know you've got dreams. And I've said to you before, I want to encourage your dreams. I want to encourage you, not just your dreams, but to get your dreams. And understand that in the past, if you didn't get them, you're not a failure. You just found out how not to do them. But now we're understanding, just in this little podcast, I think, a little bit of an understanding of maybe why we didn't get them. Because maybe we didn't have the right strategy. Maybe we didn't have the right value aligned. It wasn't positive. It wasn't towards. Maybe we didn't have the clearest of goals. And when you know that, you don't have to have any fear. You don't have to have any fear about getting your goals. Because now you're going to go with a wonderful recipe to get your goals. And you see, I know there's going to be people who doubt you. Because there is, everyone. People doubt me, I know. But that doesn't matter. Because, well, I'm me, and old Cluffy here is going to do what he wants to do, providing, always that big caveat, that I don't hurt anybody. No one gets hurt with me doing what I'm doing. And if I can share a little bit along the way or make a difference to someone's life, then I'm going to be doing that. And the thing is, there are going to be some people who go, why are you doing this? You're not the type of person who can do this. I know there's a guy called Jeff Thompson, just came to mind. He has written some wonderful books, but he's gone from a sweeper-upper in a factory, sweeping up the factory floor, to becoming a spiritual teacher, but also a BAFTA award-winning screenwriter. Now, that's amazing, but he had so many battles that he had to win, not necessarily to fight, because he was a fighter too, but battles that he had to overcome through people saying, who the hell do you think you are? And obviously that sinks in sometimes, and his thoughts in himself, well, who do I really think I am? Do I deserve this? But he had clear goals. He had clear goals, and he had the positive values that he knew they were going to make a difference in the world. He was going to make a difference in the world. And because of that, he found the strategy. Yeah, sometimes that strategy went awry. He didn't quite get what he wanted. But he knew from that he could change. He could be flexible. He could, because of his awareness, he could refocus, be flexible, and carry on this passion of his to make a difference. And to me, that's awesome. Absolutely awesome. And also about that, by doing that, he attracted people that supported him and still support him. And that's from someone who started his work in life as a sweeper-upper. It means nothing. It's what's inside. Not what you do. It's what you do with what you've got. Awesome. So anyway, having gone through all of that, I got a little bit emotional there for Jeff, because Jeff is a lovely man. He really is a lovely man. So what I'd like you to think of, what type of goals do you have? And I know when I do some of my coaching calls, we have people say, well, I've got these 10 goals that I want to achieve in the next 3 months. Well, whoa. Yes, I'm not the person to say that that's not possible, because no one can say it's not possible. But the likelihood is it's just too much overwhelm. So what I like to do is say, well, just put all your goals in a nice journal. I like journals, you know that. Open them up. I get an A4, which turns into A3. And I just throw those goals out. And then I look to them and say, well, that's a nice long distance goal. Well, we'll work on that one gently and easily. Here's a shorter one. But what's the most important one to me? And I pick, or I get them to pick, just a couple of goals and maybe a longer distance goal. Something to work on, something that's going to make a difference. Because when they get their strategy going and start creating the successes of those steps along and achieving those goals, it's going to create a momentum. And those other goals are either going to be thrown away because there's better goals that come to mind, or those goals are just going to happen anyway. And they're going to start to work on them unconsciously. And it's things like serendipity, coincidences. They just happen to create those goals without even knowing, quicker than they ever thought possible. And how do they do that, though? They did it, I think, this way. By noticing which goals they're going to work on first. And then before committing to these goals, we're going to do something before that. Because sometimes we think of a goal, we're going to commit. And we tell other people. Because that's the way what you do. You commit to other people because they'll hold you up to it. Well, do they really? Do they shun you if you say, well, I'm sorry, I've given up on that goal? Do they cast you asunder and all that stuff? No, of course they don't. They go, oh, never mind. Never mind. It was a bit, I didn't think you were going to do it anyway. Come and have a drink. I went off there somewhere. Anyway, so you need to know those goals are important to you. The value. I believe the value is the first thing that we get right before we start working out our system, our strategy. So we have a goal in mind. What's a goal? It's an outcome. It's an outcome in mind. That's all it is. So pick that goal. But then before you start to look at the value of it, I want you to define it first. It could be, oh, I want to lose weight. Okay, lose a pound. That's it, done. That's not specific. I want more money. Here's $1. Here's £1. I want you to define exactly what you want, really specifically. So if you've got a journal, you can make some notes of this, or I do suggest maybe listening to this again, because from NLP, we have a wonderful way of achieving an achievable outcome or creating an achievable outcome. And here's just a few things from it. But the first one always starts with, what specifically do you want? And really make sure it's specific. And also, it's for you. You see, for you alone. Because if you don't make it for you, say you want a goal for somebody else, it's not going to happen, is it? Because you can't make goals happen for other people. You can't make other people do can't make people do things. You can influence them by achieving your goals to show things are possible. But here's the thing. This goal is specifically for you. I mean, here's an example. I've had to turn people away from the hypnotherapy and it doesn't matter what their problem is. Generally, it comes under things like smoking, but it could be anxiety and stress, and every one of those is important to change. But in the consultation, we get, my wife, my husband, my family thought I should come, so I'm coming for them. And you go, what's the value in it to you? Well, no, I don't want to stop, or I'm happy with my weight, or I don't think I've got an anger issue. I don't think I'm stressed. Well, then the value is zilch, nada. Therefore, you won't do it, or they won't do it. Not you, because you will. They won't do it. So we need to make sure this goal is specifically for you, doing it for you. And what I say to some people is, because I also find that mums specifically, mums tend to have this thing where they have to do things for their children first before they get the benefit. Now we've got the old thing about in the plane, always put your oxygen mask on first before you can help others. And that's a lovely little metaphor, But the thing is, what I say to people is you're being most selfish doing things for your children. And obviously with mums, they look at me and think, well, I think I might get slap in a minute, but no. Good rapport, Paul, carry it on. And I explain that when you get to feel really good about yourself, when you believe in yourself, when you have wonderful positive beliefs, emotions, you start doing the behaviors that make you feel good, and you start to be and act as the real you and enjoy life and have just joy in your life. They get to be around you when you're full of joy. And which you would they rather be around? The one that had the old stuff, maybe a little bit of resentment too, or the real you with joy? It's no brainer, isn't it? That's why you work on yourself, and that's why this goal has to be specifically for you. But also think, where are you right now with this goal? How far away is it? But where are you right now? Because there's things that you've already got in your life. We're going to go through those in a minute. But just to make sure, let's see. How will you know when you've got it as well? So where are you now? And then we go out into the future. How well you know when you've got it? Because this is really important. Because I've seen people get so close to the finishing line. They think they've got it. We see him on the YouTube videos where you see the runner coming in, waving his hands up, and they trip over and someone runs past them. Or they're looking to the crowd and someone runs past them because they didn't know where the finishing line was, the goal line was. Or they're so close, but they don't realize it and they give up. So you've got to know where your finishing line is. How will you know when you've achieved this goal? And we call it like the last step. The last step of the goal, that when you take that last step, you will know, and it will convince you 100 million% that you've achieved that goal. So there's a couple of things you want to write down in your journal. What specifically do I want? What are the resources? Or where am I now? And how will I know when I've got that goal? And then you can say, well, what are the resources I have now? What resources do I have now to achieve that goal? So it could well be that, you've got if you're going to the gym, I've got all the gym shoes. I've seen all the YouTube videos. I know what to do. I just haven't written it down yet. Oh, there's a step, but not yet. Maybe you could go through, well, I've got some books I could read. I've got a friend who's really good, or I've a resource if it's like a gym buddy and you haven't been to the gym yet, but I know somebody who would like a gym buddy who goes to the gym or something like that. Someone who doesn't, or there's, if it's a writing course you want to go, well, I know there's somebody else who wants to come to a writing course with me, or I've got a couple of writing books, or I know somebody who knows somebody who does a writing course. So there'll be more that come along, but just initially, just do those resources, because that also gives you an idea later on, the things that you're going to need to add, the resources you're going to need. And that's going to be part of your steps, isn't it? And then one of the things you can do is what will this allow you to do? When you achieve this goal, what will it allow you to do? And this is where a little bit of the value comes in. What will it allow you to do? What will it mean to you when you get this goal? So, because I'm not going to repeat the story, but one time, a long time ago, I had a goal. I didn't work out what's going to happen after that goal. It was if that was the end. And it took me ages to even decide to go ahead with the goal, because and it was there right in front of me, an opportunity, and I couldn't take it because I didn't know what was coming next. And that's a real problem. Goals don't stop. They're a continuum, because they're only a step. As we said, everything is a set of goals. So it's just a step to another goal, another set of achievements, another adventure. So knowing what it's going to allow you to do will also think and get you to think, is it what I really want? Because we're going to go to the values shortly. So also just have a little think. Where, when, how, and with whom do you want this goal? Because it's important to think, when do you want it? Where do you want it? Is it something you're going to travel? Are there people involved that are going to come along, not as a part of this goal as such, but they're going to be affected by this goal? And they need consideration because, for example, if your goal is to travel, and to travel extensively, yet you're married with children, there's a little bit of flexibility you're going to need to be able to work a way that you could do both. Because there's always ways, always a way. And then just have a think, well, who don't I want this goal with? Or what don't I want? What am I going to lose is another question. What am I going to lose when I get this goal? Now, some of these things could be really great, because if it's going to be weight loss, well, I'm going to lose that tired feeling, that depressed feeling. They're great things to lose. But for some people, it's the things I'm going to do means I'm going to lose my friendship with various people, and that friendship is very dear to me, which again is not a problem when you become aware of it, because you can make your strategy, your systems accommodate that, mitigate that problem. So when you go through those type of things to get a real specific idea around your goal and the effects of your goal, then you can start to think, okay, why is this goal important to me? And just notice what comes to mind. Because you've got all this stuff has come in now. And when you have it, the values become more and more clear, if that makes sense. I slowed down then because I was trying to get it in my head that those values will become more clear. It's as if your unconscious mind is providing that importance to you. So why is this important to me? And it'll just come to your mind, and write it down quickly. Well, quickly write it down. You know what I mean? And then you go to that sentence you've just written down and go, well, why is that important to me? And we love doing things in threes. The next sentence says, why is that important to me? Because we want to make sure, as we said, they're toward what you want and not away from what you don't want. We talk about this, I've talked about values a lot of times, but even on my last coaching call, we were talking about these wonderful goals that this person had, about sharing, about creating wonderful projects for people. And I just said, why is this important to you? And she said, because I really don't want to be in debt. Oh, whoa, those two, this is away from it. Sounds really good. I want to be away from debt. I don't want debt, but it's abundance we want to head for. And it was really, when you create things that people want in the business world and you service your clients, you're going to get so wonderfully rewarded. Debt doesn't even come into it because you're being rewarded for what you do wonderfully well, the service you give. So we had to look at that and get her to think of how she could change that. Not change the value, but reframe the value and look at the values in different ways. But you had to have a really belief upon it. A positive belief. We can't just say, oh, well, I just changed that value. Oh, I want if you don't believe that, well, it's not congruent, is it? Not aligned. And there's ways to do that. So it's something to look at, because when you notice that all towards you, just know now, I've got value in this goal. It's important to me. I've now defined it in a way that I've even got information, what I'll see when I get there, what I hear when I get there, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, but we'll do that in a minute. But also you can think of, well, what type of system do I need to get there? Do I have a system to get that goal? Do I have a strategy to get that goal? And you might go, nope, not at all, Paul. I haven't got a blooming clue. Well, we can do a number of things. You can think about, well, has anybody else achieved a goal like what I want, like what you want? And then you go, well, actually, yeah, there is. You can either Google them and notice and follow their history, maybe in an autobiography, or if there's someone close at hand, you can ask somebody. I just need a little bit of advice, not help. I'd like some advice. How did you start? What was your first step? You can devise. You've got it inside you. Now you've got the importance of this. You know specifically what you want. You can start to just write down the type of steps in a timeline that you'd think you would need. Brilliant way to do it, and I think we've done it before, is start from the goal, having achieved it, and work backwards. What has to happen just before you get the goal? And what has to happen just before that? And what has to happen just before that? Oh, look, we've got our steps. And then, to really get an idea of those steps and make sure they're right, imagine that last step again. Imagine achieving that last step. See it as like on a movie screen in front of you. See yourself achieving it. Make sure you're in that movie. Make it big and bright. Make the sounds wonderful. So they're like surround sound. And maybe there's even music there. Make it so emotional that you can feel it. And then go into that movie. Step into that you. And see what you'll see when you achieve that goal. Hear what you'll hear when you achieve that goal. And feel the feelings of having got it. As if you've got it right now. The feeling of the wish fulfilled. And then, holding on to that feeling, however you hold on to it, you can anchor it, just remember it. You get every cell, every fibre of you. Remember that feeling. And as you step out of that movie, back into you, look at those steps and look at the very first step. And if that first step doesn't have that feeling, it's not the right step. But if that first step allows you to move forward towards your goal and maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you're on your way. And then all we have to use, is those 5 keys to success. Always keeping your goal in mind. So knowing where you're going, knowing the outcome, knowing that last step that's going to convince you, and that feeling of the wish fulfilled. And then taking action, inspired action, massive action. Now I want massive, small steps, baby steps action to start off with. Inspired with that feeling of the wish fulfilled. That's the inspiration for you. And then having awareness. Awareness. Am I in the right direction? Have I taken those steps? Is there more things that I need? If I'm off course, having the flexibility to take actions to come back on course. Remembering an aeroplane, the only times it's on course is when it takes off and lands. Everything else is being adjusted for. So you've got the flexibility and awareness. And with all of that, you're using the physiology and psychology of excellence, the acting as if. How would you think? How would you talk? How would you walk if you have this goal already? And you know that because you've already imagined it. And take on that physiology, take on that psychology of excellence, the excellence of having that wish fulfilled and the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And just let them circle. So always keeping that goal in mind. Always keep taking the next step, the next baby step. Checking on your journal. Is there another better strategy to have? Is there someone else I can help and help along the way, but also can they help me? Someone who can give me some advice. Keeping that awareness and that flexibility, and always maintaining that feeling of the wish fulfilled and the psychology and physiology of excellence. And then the behaviors of excellence, acting as if through you and that value that you have, because you know what it's going to mean to you and you know what it's going to allow you to do. There you go. All that came from someone saying, goals aren't the thing to do, park them. And yes, we do park the goals for a moment because we have to go and think of things. But we park them in a place that's in the forefront of our mind. But we add to it the feeling of the wish fulfilled. We add to it the strategy, the system that's going to allow us to get there, and keeping the value, knowing it's important, knowing it's totally good for us. And again, that meta view, the flexibility, the focus and awareness. So there you go. I want to support you in your goals. I hope that gives you more support to achieve the goals. And you can start off as big as you want. No one's going to tell you no. But when you're working on a big goal, what I would suggest is have a little goal as well. A short-term goal. Things you're going to keep hitting success with. Because success will breed success. Only as much as the feeling of the success is a great thing to have. But it's a belief. The belief that you're good enough. The belief that it's okay. There's always a way. And what I would say, having done all of this, as I've shared this with you, because it was important, someone shared it with me, because it was important. In fact, I learned a lot of this in my very early days of NLP. And NLP was a way of sharing different processes by two brilliant guys. Share your experiences with other people. Share them along the way. So instead of just doing this openly committing to other people to try to be up there, just tell people what you're doing in a nice way. Share with them your successes in a way that how it makes you feel. So you can be the change you want to see in yourself, but also the change you would like others to have too. And if they choose to emulate you, to use your learnings that you've shared and shorn with them, awesome. Even if they don't do it right away, it goes in. I know it does. I've seen it so many times, even with my direct family. Something is said, and they go, no. And then just a little time later, it tends to filter through because somebody else may say something similar, and they might read something similar or hear something similar. And suddenly it goes, oh, funny enough, I know what to do now. I've always known. And you go, yes, you have. Well done. And then you support them in their adventure, their goals, because then they're going to share it with you. This integrated field of learning gets to vibrate even stronger and more brilliantly wonderful in a way to be. Anyway, having said all of that, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave you till the next time. And I really hope that you've got something out of this. I know I have by just talking about it. It's given me a clearer insight of what I thought and think about goals. If there's anything you want to know that maybe was unclear, something that I didn't share with the greatest communication, please give me the feedback. Feedback at personaldevelopmentunplugged.com, and I will go over it again, or I'll research it and do my best to make things as clear as possible. But also share with us the results of this, or what you've tweaked that made it even better for you, because that's the type of experiences that the integrated field of learning will just create even more of. So, with that, have more fun than you can stand and enjoy every heartbeat. And once again, thank you. Hey, I know what you're thinking. I've heard this before, but you haven't heard this one. So, anyway, I know you've only got so much time in the world. Time is precious. And you've only got so much time to share good things with your friends. So maybe the next time you consider sharing something, you can consider sharing this podcast or a podcast of mine, of Personal Development Unplugged, that you enjoyed, and share it with, I'd like you to share it with everyone. You know, the pay it forward. And if you pay it forward and then you ask somebody else to pay it forward, you know, we'll be really creating this community of the Personal Development Unplugged kind. So I'd love you to do that, if you could. If you would like to subscribe to this podcast, you can do it through iTunes, you can do it through Castbox. You can do that. And if you would love to leave a little review, 5 stars is always good, but the words are really more important. If you do that, people say, oh, it takes seconds, but it doesn't. It takes probably a couple of minutes. If you could do that right now, hey, that would be good. And lastly, all this hypnosis that I do is completely free. You have to go to another website though. Keeps it all nice and clean for you. It's also downloadable, which is the bit I like. I want to give it to you, and so you can put it on any device that you want, and you can listen to it anywhere you want. You don't need to have your Wi-Fi, your internet on. So that's at paulcloughonline.com/podcast. You do have to put an email address in, because I have to send you the link to get it. But I just want to tell you now, for all this data protection stuff and everything that's going on at the moment, I do not share your emails with anyone. No one. Nada. They're just to let me send you the link and send you a few updates of the new hypnosis tracks. And what I'm hoping to do as this community, because that's how you get to become like the official member of the Unplugged Personal Development community, is to send some more personal hypnosis tracks that won't be available or talked about on the podcast. There'll be things of my creation which I just want to give to you. So if you'd like that, go there, paulcloughonline.com/podcast. We'll have some great times. We will. I think that's about it. So enjoy every heartbeat. And please remember, do share. It'd be great. Bye now.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.